Tonight, you're not just watching a documentary, you're stepping into a ride through power gone unchecked. This is the story of how public corruption in North Mississippi turned its aim on one man, an innocent man, and framed him in May of 2017. That man is me. This first episode is an hour long descent into the nightmare that followed, the arrest, the lies, the betrayals, and the machinery of power working exactly as it wanted. What you'll see is not unique to me. It's a mirror of what too many have come to know. Power does what it wants. Welcome to Riding with the Outlaw.
What's your badge number, by the way? That were elected as our state representatives decided to bypass a vote and went straight for the jugular to remove the state flag of Mississippi. Big news here in Mississippi. The jokesters that were elected as our state representatives decided to bypass a vote and went straight for the jugular to remove the state flag of Mississippi. My thing that I've said from the beginning is that if it goes to a vote, and if the overwhelming majority voted in favor of a new flag, you're not going to hear me complain. Because at the end of the day, Mr. Mayor, I want to speak
my statement has always been about our constitutional rights. Okay? The rights that are afforded to us as citizens. It's not about us stars and bars. It's about the will of the people.
Sure, but this is the taxpayers' house. They have a right to speak. You have absolutely no right to say that they can't speak.
And you have elected officials that are making controversial moves that are ignoring that which the people vote for.
You're a cultural Marxist.
Just spelled out an epic disaster for society because it sets precedents. Only bad things can come from it. Don't want to hear about one of the nastiest public corruption scandals. And what's crazy is I've literally mapped this thing out, called every single phase of what's going on right now.
in advance because I knew what happened. And you've got agencies that are obstructing justice, destroying evidence, and turning a blind eye. Shoveling proof of innocence.
Jared Bundren.
And shielding criminal activity.
Hey, I'm here to show you how to conduct a proper investigation. You received a call on May 24th, 2017.
Heinous corruption.
I would like the details of that call.
To such a level.
Why are y'all cowards? Why are y'all cowards?
To help get a female Democrat mayor elected.
I would like the. I'm trying to ask. You said noted.
Yep. Damning information, which would have had potentially devastating political ramifications from coming down the hopper. Her husband, the attorney of my ex, for the original child custody matter back in 2016, August of 2016. It was that time that my child was kept from me for approximately 2 months. It was the first extended period of absence that I took away from me. That was, she basically was used as a wedge, a negotiation tool. You got the May 1st, 2017 arrest. In front of that statue right there. Where I was holding the state flag of Mississippi. Standing on public property. Was not bothering a soul. Was not loud. Nothing. Just standing on this very pavement that I'm standing right now, holding the state flag of Mississippi. But because that didn't fit the agenda of this city, the city being that it took it on itself to remove the state flag from city property, while all along taking taxpayer dollars from the state, from Jackson. My view hasn't changed on that. Never will. It's common sense. If you take state-funded tax dollars from your state, well, damn it, I think it should be an obligation that you fly the state flag. I don't think that's some far out there want and demand. May 1st, Deputy Sheriff Timmy Pruitt pulled up. He asked me if I had a permit to be here. I told him that I had the First Amendment. I'm a Marine Corps veteran. I'm a patriot. I'm a 3%er. I took an oath at the end of 2007 to uphold and defend our Constitution from all enemies, both foreign and domestic. My oath had no expiration date. Nowhere in the military oath is there an expiration date that says that this oath is only good until the time of your service ends. And it's like that for a very particular reason. You see, when I took an oath back in 2007 to uphold and defend our Constitution, I swore an oath to our country and ultimately wrote a blank check to our government for an amount up to and including my life. Now, I wasn't deployed. I was never sent to a deployable squadron. In fact, I was in the air wing And I was part of a non-deployable squadron that actually trained new pilots to fly the AV-8B Harrier and then get assigned to a gun squadron and sent overseas to drop bombs on Iraq. So I personally find my MOS and my job very crucial to the readiness of the Marine Corps and its officers to go and drop bombs on the bad guys. Okay? So I wrote a blank check to the government for an amount up to including my life. It's that reason right there alone that the oath that I took doesn't expire. So I wanted to know, and I still want to know to this day, how a city and a county has the right, feels that they have the right to supersede the Constitution, the law of the land. Because the last I knew, no law made by any city or any county ever had the effect of becoming a law and a lawful order if it directly clashed with that of the Constitution. And the First Amendment right guarantees my right to stand here on public property, whether or not I'm causing friction, whether or not I'm irritating people. It's my right, granted through the First Amendment, to have freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, freedom of the press. Just like, I'll point the camera over here, like y'all can see. We've got protesters over there holding signs, wanting the statue to come down. And I tell them every single time I talk to them, they have a right to be here. And honestly, they have the right to live, to be here free of harassment. And don't even need to have a permit. Shouldn't even be a requirement to have a permit. But see, that's the liberal hypocrisy, because I'll never hear that said to me. In fact, being that I'm a conservative, just the opposite. Back in May of 2017, false reports were called up there about me causing problems on the square, even though I wasn't saying a thing. I was just holding a state flag, had a gun on my hip.
You know, I am audio and video reporter, Mr. Fred.
I don't care. You have a permit to be here.
The First Amendment, actually.
You have a permit to be here.
No.
All right, you gotta leave.
Why is that?
Because you're going to jail if you don't.
I'm going to jail just for standing out here and
That's
holding
right.
a flag.
Yeah. You have to leave.
Okay, where does that
Let me just.
Can I just ask you? Can I ask you a question?
I'm gonna ask you one more time to leave. If not, I'm gonna give you to jail. Disorderly conduct.
Okay, I'll leave and take this straight to my attorney then. That's you can't threaten me with my First Amendment rights. Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, Mr.
Count
Fred.
three to leave. One.
This fucking city is ass fucking backwards. Ass fucking backwards. Y'all see that? Hey, what's your badge number, by the way, Deputy Pruitt? No, I'm not. I'm leaving. I was asking you. I was asking you. I was leaving.
Long story short, Deputy Pruitt said I had to leave. I didn't have a permit or I was going to face arrest. Said I was going to take the video straight to my attorney. I couldn't be threatened with my First Amendment rights. His uniform was a little bare that day. He had forgotten to put his badge back on before coming out. He took about 7 steps off and I turned around to ask him what his badge number was. That infuriated him because it made him look horrible. As if he wasn't already doing a good enough job of that himself. When he came trying to trod on a Marine Corps veteran and a patriot's rights, stand there in solitude, by myself, not even as a group, holding the state flag of Mississippi. I was arrested. When I asked him what his badge number was, it infuriated him. He took me to the jail. I maybe was in the jail for about an hour before I posted bond. I grabbed my state flag. My car was parked right here on the square still. And I decided I was going to take a victory lap and walk from the sheriff's department with my state flag back to the square. And I did a victory lap around the square, holding my state flag, proudly holding my state flag. Because I knew what I did was not wrong. And you can try to paint me into a corner and try to demonize me all you want to. The fact is, even by the sheriff's department's own admission, and through multiple agencies, news agencies, I was arrested for holding the state flag on public property. Chain of events happens after that. Okay? I go to New Orleans, go stand up for the monuments under attack. I come back May 7th, May 8th. Alright? I have court the next day on a child custody hearing. I meet with my attorney for a lot of the day. I end up doing a countersuit against my ex, and I get the bright idea to go and serve her attorney with the countersuit. Oh, it was epic. Awesome. Hi, is Mona here? Mona?
Welcome here.
All right, I just wanted to say you are hereby served.
Actually, no, you have to separate with the legal process.
Well, you're hereby served.
Hi, everybody.
Served her attorney, counterclaim. Saw them in court the next day. There's a bit of a fireworks clashing between the attorneys. Long story short, fast forward the tape then. May 15th, I had spoken out in City Hall in Oxford City Hall. The city took it on itself to remove the state flag from city property while all along taking taxpayer dollars from the state, from Jackson. My view hasn't changed on that. Never will. It's common sense. If you take state-funded tax dollars from your state, well, damn it, I think it should be an obligation that you fly the state flag. Mayor Pat Patterson refused to allow me to address the board. And just like everything else in this town, they think they got it all figured out, and so be it. For your rights. I know that the First Amendment right also grants me the right to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Of course, with my grievance being the Mississippi state flag being taken down on city property in Oxford. I called the mayor and each of the board of aldermen a cultural Marxist if they stood in favor of keeping the state flag down while openly taking tax dollars from the state.
What is this? Mr. Mayor, I want to speak out on the state flag, like I said.
Mr. Mayor, we invite you to come to the June 6th meeting.
Sure, but this is the taxpayers' house. They have a right to speak. You have absolutely no right to say that they can't speak. No right. Where does that lie with you? You're a cultural Marxist. Every single one of you sitting there are cultural Marxists if you vote to keep the flag down. That is all it is. Complete cultural Marxism. I'm leaving. On it. Say what I need to say.
I thought it was just an absolutely tyrannical move made by the city. So about May 19th, see, I was patronizing Frank and Marley's, a bar on the square, just about every day, going there drinking, because it was right across from an attorney that I was good friends with, Charles Yao. And I would go in there and I would talk to him pretty frequently about everything going on. And I would go and I would have my drinks over at Frank and Marley's. Ashley Lynch did not like me as a person. She didn't like me as a person because she didn't like me as a salesperson from before. She thought I came across too pushy. And I was no longer with that company, and I wanted to smooth things over with Ashley, so I tried to motion for her to come over to the bar where I was sitting down eating a tray of chicken wings that I had just paid for. She wouldn't come over. I said, well, I think it's only right. I'm patronizing your bar, spending money here. I'm just simply trying to smooth issues over because I don't want any issues. She refused to have any of that. And I said, well, I think that's pretty fucked up. I'm over here trying to bury the hatchet with you. I don't want any drama. She came over, she grabbed my tray of chicken wings, and she threw them in the trash can, even though I paid cash for them. Wouldn't give me a refund, anything. So I walked out of the bar, I called for a boycott of Frank and Marley's. It turned into a back and forth between us on Facebook. What I like to call a meme war. Really them with the memes. It was them that created the YouTube channel that they called a 24/7 surveillance and watch of Oxford's Matt Reardon. Huh. Who does that sound like? Stalking. And then, honestly, I'll be the first to say, I don't feel like they did anything illegal, and I certainly didn't do anything illegal. They just weren't expecting me to play right back into it and not get all offended. For me to actually have fun with it and run along with them. So that happens. I'm sent proof that there's a death threat that's been made on my life by my ex and mother of my child. Also the one coincidentally represented by the mayor's husband. So May 20th, I go and I purchase an AR-15 and a bulletproof vest. So I had every right to do, protect myself and my family. Had a drunk stream that night. That's my biggest regret. It's during these live streams that really spurred the claims made that I was making threats on the Lynches and their business as well as the Tannehills. And all in all, it came down to information that I was given. My child being used as a weaponized tool to court against me, kept from me, and had me very emotional. May 22nd, restraining order, emergency injunction, is filed by Ray Tannehill, who is representing his wife, Robin Tannehill, the mayor-elect, as her attorney. So, I'm hunted down the next day, May 23rd, on campus, 2 sheriff's deputies. They pull me over to give me a restraining order. The 24th, a mysterious phone call comes in to Lafayette County Sheriff's Department for Sheriff's Investigator Jared Bundard. Jared took this call where it was stated that I was making threats against Frank and Marley's and Todd and Ashley Lynch. Now Jared. Better off suited for a Subway commercial. Definitely not investigating a crime. I swear that man was made for Subway. What an idiot. He claims that he investigated my Facebook profile. Claims that he investigated my Facebook profile, and in that, he said that he saw proof of multiple threats. There were never any threats of physical harm, ever. In fact, I've clearly stated in all my videos, even way back then, before that I wouldn't go on the offensive. I'm there to protect myself, my family, and innocent bystanders. Those unable to defend themselves. May 25th, the next day, I meet with the FBI at the local field office here in Oxford. I meet with them for a couple of reasons. Because of the death threat that was made against me, that I had screenshots of. There's already a liberal hypocrisy like none other shown in this area. You see plenty of proof of that with Riding With The Outlaw. Plenty of proof of it. But I also met with them because I felt like my First Amendment rights had come under attack. To protect somebody coming on board as the mayor. See, I had actually done what Mayor Pat Patterson had said, even though I felt like I didn't have to, because I sure didn't want to get told I couldn't speak the next time. And I put myself on the agenda to address the Board of Aldermen on June the 6th, the next Board of Aldermen meeting. And I was slotted to speak right after Joey East. The article is in the local Voice. Well, when I got pulled over May 23rd and given the restraining order, essentially keeping me 500 feet away from the Tannehills, from Robin Tannehill, who is the whatever alderman who's going to be there because she was an alderman, it effectively barred me from speaking. So I met with the FBI about these two issues that were major issues. Coincidentally, the next day, May 26th, I'm surrounded on the square by sheriff's deputies, arrested, not told what I was being arrested for until they got me to the jail. There, I was hit with the affidavit that I was on or before May 8th. I put the Lynches in fear of their life with an AR-15 at their house. How could that be? When I purchased the AR-15 on May 20th. And I did so because I had a death threat made to me. The FBI stood by with their hands in the cookie jar, refusing to show any proof. I mean, they've got their own cybercrimes division. Surely, through the sit-down meeting that I had with them, they would be able to surely shed some light, because after all, wasn't Michael Flynn charged with lying to the FBI? So, therefore, where am I lying? Because if I was lying to the FBI about purchasing the AR-15 on May 20th, then where's the FBI right now to arrest me for lying to the FBI? Crickets. And it's because at this very time, the FBI was a politicized weapon. A politicized weapon that was documented in full detail with the disgusting, absolutely disgusting, illegal wiretapping campaign that they conducted on General Michael Flynn. No reason to actually ever wiretapped a guy. And then when they charged him, they threatened that if he didn't plead guilty to something that he didn't commit, that they were going to come after his son. I mean, how disgusting and low down can you get? The FBI is causing more harm to society than they're causing good. Fact. They've turned into a politicized weapon that allows an innocent person to get framed, knowing that they had the proof. So I sit in jail from May 26th, get a bond hearing May 30th. Judge meets with the sheriff's investigator behind closed doors for about 10 minutes prior to coming out. I'm in an orange jumpsuit. She reads me the charge. I said, "Your Honor, I'd like to address the court." She said, "Mr. Reardon, you have the right to remain silent." And I said, "I know what my rights are. Damn it, I know what my rights are. Take a stand for them. But I don't choose to invoke it. In fact, right now, I choose to invoke my first, my freedom of speech." She wouldn't let me speak to address the court to show that the state had absolutely zero proof, zero evidence, and that I had 100% evidence of my innocence. Crooked. And even more crooked was that she had judged a $150,000 cash bond. Or $150,000 bond. It was written out in the Oxford Eagle, which we know how much credibility to pay to them. But I was given a $150,000 bond. It was already 2 days past the allotted window for me to actually get a bond hearing. You're only supposed to get 2 days. They made me sit in jail for 4. They did that with a goal in mind, because the mayor's election was June the 6th, exactly 7 days later. All right? Exactly 7 days later, the mayor would become elected in an unopposed race. She would become Oxford's 36th mayor. She would scathe through without any political ramifications or anything backfiring in the process of her becoming elected. No roadblocks, no Mississippi patriot that stood for everything that she did, which is the Constitution. I had a crooked-ass attorney by the name of Brendan Horan. Didn't know at the time when he was hired to replace my public defender, which, matter of fact, the public defender did everything. I didn't even realize it. And Horan did absolutely nothing. Horan viciously destroyed me. Horan proved exactly why he doesn't need to be an attorney. He showed the direct harm that a conflict of interest can cause. He has me go ahead and sign off on a permanent restraining order, okay? Which, had I have actually read the restraining order the way it was written up, that was written up based on constitutionally protected activity such as running an aggressive internet campaign against Robin Tannehill, being a strong advocate of the Mississippi state flag, being arrested in front of the statue for holding the state flag May 1st of, calling corruption where it stood. What's wrong with the judge for even allowing that to even pass through? That directly harmed the integrity. Directly harmed the integrity of the court that day. And it showed that judges, especially in this liberal hypocrisy of a city, they go down partisan lines, and it's all a favor-driven system. I only did that. I only signed that bogus thing, which I didn't even read the report. I was just given the permanent restraining order page to sign off on with him. Did that because he told me it would make this sham shit go away. Nope, it didn't. Sure didn't. Guys, it is raining, so I'm going to take you with me. Oh. Bear with me a second. Y'all, these are crimes against humanity that have been committed, especially with how far they took it. And it's no different than a Hillary Clinton Democrat scandal. The mayor was elected on June 6th, unopposed. They had me away, they had me silenced because I was in jail. Couldn't post bond. And on I think it was June 29th or June 28th, it was the last Thursday in June, Tannehill was sworn into office as Oxford's 36th mayor. Coincidentally enough, the following Thursday, 7 days later, a plea deal comes down the hopper. And I'm told that if I don't take it, that they're going to throw the book at me. They're going to hit me with a heap of other charges, all in order to get a guaranteed conviction, to get me gone one way or the other. And my attorney said, while he knew that, without a doubt, that I was innocent of the crime which I was charged, that it didn't matter when the system wanted you, they were gonna figure out a way to make it happen. That's why this whole time with Riding with the Outlaw, it has been so important to me to publish my discoveries. Because honestly, at the end of the day, that is the only thing that is out there protecting. Because if it were up to these people, the agencies involved, the agencies tasked with preventing public corruption, with preventing corruption in law enforcement agencies, it all would have been swept under the table. That's what they were doing the entire time. They were obstructing. U.S. Attorney's Office, over 6 weeks' time, called them many times, leaving a voicemail, because my statute of limitations was running out for me to show, without a shadow's doubt, without any reasonable doubt, that I couldn't have possibly committed the crime in question. U.S. Attorney's Office refused to even call me or look at the heap of evidence that I had. A whole chest of evidence. I mean, literally, it was every single thing. Just about every element proven at that point. The U.S. Attorney's Office wouldn't even look at it. FBI, nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. But is that really a surprise? So I did a public records request for the 302, which is the investigative report that was produced after a sit-down meeting with the FBI. Okay, anytime FBI agents meet with a citizen, they have they have to put that information, log that information into what is called a 302. It's like a formal police report. I put in the FOIA request with the FBI. They have a 20-day window to comply. I even put an expedite request on there. Because my statute of limitations was running out. It's, I don't know, a month, at least a month past the expiration date, and the FBI is still yet to even open my file to assign it a number. Through several calls, I've been led to believe, both through talking to the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi, as well as speaking with the Jackson headquarters, as well as speaking with their main headquarters, wherever it's at, Virginia, wherever, that they cannot locate my 302. Wanted to know a description of the agents that I met with. Like that's supposed to be somehow my responsibility to keep up with. During an absolute crazy time in my life and an even crazier time of being framed for a crime I couldn't have committed. And now I'm led to believe that the 302 that would prove exactly everything that was discussed at that meeting has grown 2 legs and just hopped and skipped off. And the funny, ironic thing, it's not funny. It's ironic and it's freaking sickening. Is that if it came down to somebody's ability to purchase a gun, and even if it was bogus information in their system, because it was political, you can bet your ass that they wouldn't lose that 302 if it prevented somebody from making a gun purchase. But an innocent American who's a Trump supporter, which the FBI hated at that time, and they still do. Then it's, let's just forget about his 302. He doesn't matter. We're going to let the system swallow him whole. Guess what? Shit ain't happening, Jack. Not without one hell of a battle royale going down over my rights. Especially when I've unearthed everything that I've unearthed over the last 3 months. They clearly didn't care about it backfiring on them. And they didn't care because they were so well banded together. They had everybody in the local government protecting each other's ass on this. Executive branch, legislative branch, judicial branch, attorneys. Oh, and there's some other key actors as well. So here's the thing. I've been asking for that May 24th phone call for the past month and a half, when I found out through a public records request that Sheriff's Investigator Jared Bundren received a mystery phone call on May 24, 2017. I brought my reporting to the Sheriff's Department to seek answers, steadily requesting this May 24th phone call, recorded phone call, information about the call, who's on it, who made the call. It's very important. They would not comply. They've gaffed it off from the beginning. Jared Bundren,
Hey, I'm here to show you how to conduct a proper investigation. I would like to, do you have a minute? You don't? You received a call on May 24th, 2017. I would like the details of that call. Jared, I put in a public records request. Why are y'all not complying with the public records request?
Sheriff Joey East, I would have loved to have said okay with him. I didn't want to have any problems with the sheriff.
Joey East! How you doing, sir? I needed to get a little Q&A with you. You don't do Q&As? Well, can you answer a few questions for me?
No, I can't.
Why is the county not wanting to comply on the public records request? You told me...
You probably have to ask the county, man.
You told me that if I submitted it, y'all would comply. That was the last time that we spoke.
I told you we'd look at it.
You said no. You said that we'll comply. You said submit it and we'll comply. Why haven't I gotten the really sheriff? Sheriff, is this really the position you're going to take? Why won't you even answer that? Look, hey, y'all will not respond to anything, any email, any public records request, anything. I want to know why. I am holding our county officials accountable for this. You know I was framed. We've already had that discussion, Joey. You know I was framed.
You need to plead guilty.
Huh? That was one of your ringleaders right there. That was one of your ringleaders right there.
Man, did you plead guilty?
You know that y'all coerced me.
Did you plead guilty?
Y'all coerced me under stress and used my daughter.
I did.
Yeah, y'all twist. No, the Tannehills did. Is who really did it?
Did you plead guilty?
The,
Did you plead guilty?
I followed
That's
the
a fair
sham
question.
advice.
Riding with the Outlaw.
Okay, well,
Did you
hey,
plead guilty?
why are y'all trying to protect? Who are you trying to protect? Is it that there's no call that came in, or is it that there's somebody like Robin Tannehill or Ray Tannehill that's on that call? I want to know.
Did you plead guilty?
Who's on the call?
Did you have an attorney? And did you
Who's
plead
on the
guilty?
call?
I don't
Was
know
there a
what you're
call
talking
or was
about.
there not a call? It was, but it was on the police report that I got from May 30th.
Whatever medicine you're off, I think you need to go
Really?
take medicine or something.
Really?
because I don't understand what you're talking about.
The response of the sheriff.
Plead guilty.
The response of the sheriff.
But you know, it's this personal to me when it comes to my rights that I took an oath to our country to uphold and defend. From everything that I've gathered, and from the way that these corrupt actors are acting, it is my opinion that the masked actor that made that phone call May 24th happened to fall in the executive office over there, and it is my opinion that the motive of that was a backup contingency plan, which also saw major benefits to four parties in general. First party, Timmy Pruitt and the Fayette County Sheriff's Department. This was all conjured up plan to get that problem out of their way. They have to worry about a lawsuit for an unconstitutional arrest made. They slid the problem out of the way for the mayor to get elected June 6th. They got the problem out of the way with Frank and Marley's.
Us as a community, we do need to get together and try to figure out our problem resolution here, because Matt Reardon is a danger to our society, and he's going to be a problem. Mark my words.
To help a mother of a 2-year-old child ultimately get the father out of the way, but not his money out of the way. They made sure to go ahead and take care of taking a withholding order out were $600 a month, every month. It was held from my income, my residual income that I had built up from the years prior, and paid to her every month. So she got the money and she got the child. She played a huge part in setting this up for the other ringleaders. These people are criminal. They should be charged, and they should see the inside of a prison cell. Without a doubt. Public corruption stemming from any government position where that person is working in an official capacity for the government, the local government. I think any public corruption stemming from that, especially the framing of an innocent person, especially for furtherance of a political mission, I can't think of anything more deserving of a charge of treason and of a punishment warranting capital punishment because of the peace, dignity, and integrity of the state and the government, which was severely taken a hatchet to and very likely may never fully recover from. I talked to the county attorney, David O'Donnell, about the county's willful and contumacious disregard for my public records request and producing that call that I have every right to know. There was never a discovery motion done in my case. Never a discovery motion done in my case. I was never indicted. I pled out to an information-only crime. I was not afforded due process. My rights as a citizen were slaughtered. But to seriously go to every extent to frame an innocent man and cover up the evidence, to make him sign a covenant to not sue Lafayette County, the Sheriff's Department, the City of Oxford, the elected officials, its employees, by way of removing their liability. And I'd like to see them argue that. How do you argue the facts? Every single bit of what I just stated were the facts. Quid pro quo. Everybody wins. This one loses everything. I told y'all in the beginning that this was likely going to be a modern day David versus Goliath. And that's what it's turned out to be. I didn't realize that this corruption would grow to such a heinous and disgusting level where agencies are covering up, are hiding proof that would exonerate an innocent man that was framed. But it was part of their plan from the beginning. They just picked the wrong guy to pull it on. And I'll finish it off with this, because I said I was going to address this topic. Trickle-down corruption. It's an existential issue. Because with trickle-down corruption, see, everybody has somebody a step up. A ringleader, you could call it. That ultimately is pulling the puppet strings. This city, this county are being torn right down the middle in a moral dilemma because they're having to choose between upholding and defending the Constitution, abiding by the oath that they took, or adhering to the rules of their supervisors. Unconstitutional, lawless rules that are passed that unfortunately these officers are having to choose between good and evil. If they don't follow the demands set by their supervisors, by their higher-ups, they face punishment, losing their job, suspension. So trickle-down corruption is a problem that needs to be stomped out, or else it's going to be the downfall of our society, I'm telling you.
What's your badge number, by the way? What's your badge number, by the way?
Good afternoon, U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, it's Blowhard Bob in. Bob Norman.
Okay, may I ask who's calling, please?
It's Matt Reardon, the Outlaw.
Okay, hold on, please.
You can tell me the deck is stacked. You can whisper behind.
Bob Norman.
Bob Norman.
Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Bob Norman. Matt Reardon. Hey, I wanted to ask you if you knew who the two FBI agents that I sat down with back in 2017 were. I know that you had called ahead, and I can't recall their name.
Per the right to me in the Constitution, I have every right to seek justice.
And it's very important at this stage of the game, and I would like to find out who they are
every right. Granted to me under the United States Constitution.
Apparently, the 302 has just grown 2 legs, disappeared. Hey, check out outlaw.news. Outlaw.news.
Justice. Under the United States Constitution, you're a crooked son of a bitch.
And check out ridingwiththeoutlaw.com. I think you'd find that pretty interesting. Check out the evidence. Don't, at this point, plausible deniability is off the table. What I am basically demanding at this point, for me to have been guilty of the state's charge would have made it that I was guilty of lying to the FBI. So I'm either demanding to get indicted for lying to the FBI or for Robin Tannehill to be indicted as part of the election fraud that happened back in 2017. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, okay? But there's no way that I could have been guilty of the state's crime and not have been guilty of lying to the FBI. So, one way or the other, the evidence deserves its day in court. It deserves a trial. And that's what I'm asking for. 662-812-1613. 662-812-1613. Thanks, Bob.
Remember this phrase. When freedom is outlawed, only the outlaws will be free. I don't mind being an outlaw at all. I don't mind wearing it on my shirt.
Ridiculously hot outside. It was a coincidence. It was a little bit more probably than a coincidence that my feed was cut out here. Of all places, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those that are on here, I'm Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. If you do not know me, I've been covering my own political framing back in 2017. And on Friday, I hand-delivered my letter here to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Mississippi, right to the hands of Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman. I did so on those very steps right there. Bob gaffed it off. I asked him if he remembered me. I had put my trust in this Assistant U.S. Attorney back in May of 2017 when I had a death threat issued to me, when my right to free speech and in petitioning the government for a redress of grievances was ultimately shot and destroyed by the Tannehills, the incoming mayor of Oxford, Democrat, socialist mayor. I was on the agenda to speak out June 6th, the day of the election, and that was effectively canceled when an emergency injunction was taken out on me, barring me, keeping me 500 yards from the soon-to-be incoming mayor. The soon-to-be incoming mayor. My wife just brought me a snow cone. And on a hot day like today, a snow cone really does help. Okay. So, to fill you in, Friday I hand-delivered my inked letter to blowhard Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman. And I didn't have that nickname for him before. until I figured out that his corrupt ass was part of the problem. So, what happened? I said, "Do you remember me?" He said, "I do." And he looked at me when he first saw me like he already knew exactly who I was. I knew he knew who I was. I just couldn't remember what his name was. I put my trust in this assistant U.S. attorney to guide me in the right direction, or to take the evidence I already had and do something about it. The problem is, because I'm not a disgusting liberal, because I'm not a socialist, because I'm not a Democrat, because I don't fit the agenda of this city that they're aggressively trying to shove down the throats of the citizens in this area, because I take a stand for what's right, for the Constitution, for Southern heritage. I had information that would have had ramifications on the incoming mayor and her husband back in May of 2017. I told Bob I was trying to find out why the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District, which has a fiduciary responsibility, a moral responsibility to investigate crimes of corruption, and certainly to prosecute them if they exist, why over about 2 months' time I got the runaround, I got kicked to the back. They refused to give me a call and look at all the evidence that I had gathered in regards to this being 100% framed, my civil rights being conspired upon to be removed. He wouldn't give me an answer. I had requested, and I had been long now in wait of, the 302 investigative report generated by the FBI from a sit-down meeting that I had with him May 25th, 2017, where I discussed the death threat that was on me, where I discussed how my rights, my civil rights, my First Amendment right to speak, as well as petition the government for a redress of grievances, how that was thrown away due to a cheap shot injunction. And anytime the FBI meets with a citizen, anytime that there's any kind of interview, especially at a field office like it was done, it's supposed to be done in the presence of a second agent. And that was the case. There were 2 agents that sat down with me in the conference room of the local field branch office in Oxford, Mississippi. In a FOIA request, a public records request, I have requested the 302 from that sit-down meeting to corroborate everything that I've said. I also know that the FBI is a politicized weapon. They've been a politicized weapon. They especially were activated as a political weapon when the 45th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump, was elected to office. You see the proof with General Flynn, how the crooked FBI illegally wiretapped him in order to purposefully frame him to try to get inside of the Trump organization. And so I know not to trust the FBI to do the right thing. So in addition to this 302, which is missing according to the FBI, they will not respond to it, I also requested the video evidence of this sit-down meeting to corroborate the accuracy of the 302. And what do you know? The video is deleted after a certain amount of time that they could not specify the amount of time. They simply said that it's up to their technicians to determine. So when I pressed Bob Norman for this, for why they sat by with a moral and fiduciary obligation to answer the call for help, to prevent public corruption, he wouldn't give me an answer. I asked him about why his office would not even so much as return a phone call to examine the evidence. He would not give me an answer. I said, Bob, your office, and this is why I put together the open letter that I did, because whether or not the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Mississippi wants to provide answer or not, that letter needs to go on file at the Department of Justice in Washington, addressed to Attorney General William Barr. This corrupt bullshit has gone on long enough. It's affected enough lives, it's destroyed enough lives, and God knows it's destroyed mine. Marine Corps veteran, patriotic citizen. My rights are brutally trampled on, and nobody seems to give a shit. And what is apparently a dumbed down society from people drinking the Kool-Aid that's been given by our government pushing some kind of alternate plan here. And I have full faith and confidence in our Commander-in-Chief, Donald Trump. There are enemies of our country embedded in the alphabet agencies, such as this right here. The FBI, the CIA, the NSA, that are directly causing significant harm to our society. They're not going to stop. They're not going to back down until they completely destroy it. And it's on the citizens themselves to step up and grab the reins and either do something about it or allow it to happen. And if you allow it to happen, you're not going to have your opportunity to save it later. And that's why I'm taking the aggressive approach that I'm taking and trying to vindicate myself through Riding with the Outlaw, to trying to get to answers. Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, when I told him that he and his office had a moral and fiduciary obligation to protect American citizens, to go after, to prosecute the real criminals. His answer to me, which was absolutely gawking, was our office is protecting is protecting the public from criminals such as yourself, knowing that everything, the letter, the DVD that I just gave you, everything that I've uncovered and I've published, there's absolutely no way I could have possibly committed the crime that they accused me of. The FBI knew it. That's why the 302 is missing. That's why they will not respond to the FOIA request. That's also why the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County, as well as the Lafayette County's attorney, when pressed for details about that May 24, 2017 phone call, which through the Sheriff's Office, through their own admission, was what sparked the warrant, what generated the warrant for them to come after me, for them to ambush me on the square in Oxford when I was going to a bar to sit down with a friend to have a beer on May 26th. That was what that came from. And this blowhard U.S. attorney wants to call me a criminal. He's the criminal. He's the problem. He is directly the problem. I wonder how many of these vehicles with dark tint driving by are FBI, the investigative arm of the U.S. Attorney's Office. These people picked a fight with the wrong one. Because honestly, like I said at the beginning, they can try what they want to try. This time around, I don't care. I'm not selling my soul to the devil a second time and pleading out to some bullshit that I didn't do. I'll sit it out like a patriot would, proving my innocence. I'm not allowing this to happen. Because see, here's the thing. I got 4 kids. Well, I got 3 that are biologically mine. All of them are girls. And if I sit back and allow this to happen, if society as a whole has been trained to turn a blind eye to something such as this, if agencies are allowed to conjure up anything that they want to conjure up in order to politically motivate another, in order to remove the liability off of an agency that made a false arrest at the beginning of that month, well then, my daughters, unfortunately, don't have a future or a shot in America anyways. Because America will have long consumed itself before then. So I owe it to them, and I also am doing this to help prevent something like this from happening again. The true criminals need to be held responsible. I couldn't remember if it was May 24th or May 25th that I met with Bob Norman, the assistant U.S. attorney, who then directed me to go and speak with the FBI about the issue. But my wife actually told me that she remembers fairly well that it was May 24th, 2017, that I spoke with Bob Norman. And May 24th, 2017 was coincidentally the day that the mystery phone call came into the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department investigator Jared Bundard. And after the response that Bob Norman gave me on Friday for simply trying to hold his office accountable, for simply asking why they would not return a single phone call in regards to what was alleged as a horrible public corruption nightmare. A quid pro quo deal that benefited 4 separate parties, including the incoming mayor of Oxford, 2 bar owners, who they themselves were the one that started the little back and forth on Facebook, on social media. It benefited the Sheriff's Department in Lafayette County through the sham arrest that Timmy Pruitt made May 1st, arresting me standing in front of the Confederate statue in Oxford on the square, holding the state flag of Mississippi, because I didn't have a permit, and I asked him what his badge number was because he lazily forgot to put it on his uniform. that enraged him, and he made a wrongful arrest. And it also benefited the mother of my now 6-year-old child, who's been used as a chess piece against me in a staged war of the courts, which, by the way, her attorney in the original child custody, the husband of the Oxford mayor. Ray Tannehill, by the way, 3 days ago was appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court, was appointed to the Mississippi Bar Tribunal. You know, the people that ultimately decide if there was wrongful conduct committed by an attorney. He himself is part of this, he played a huge part. In fact, I don't think that any of this would have gone on if it weren't for Ray Tannehill's involvement. I don't. And how someone like himself gets appointed by the Mississippi Supreme Court to a position that he had absolutely no reason being in light of the serious allegations made, is beyond me. And it just shows how much tougher of an uphill battle this is going to be. That they are, one by one, maneuvering pegs in place to try to once again obtain a favorable outcome at the expense of another. And I myself am one by one putting pegs in place to be victorious in vindicating myself, doing it in the name of justice, in patriotism, and to bring the truly responsible parties to justice. In that open letter, go read it if you haven't read it yet. There's a landmark U.S. Supreme Court ruling by the late and great Judge Antonin Scalia. It was United States versus Williams, in which he ruled that the grand jury does not belong to any three branches of government. Rather, the grand jury belongs 100% in its entirety to we the people. And that by that, the citizenry are empowered to impanel a citizen's grand jury to present evidence, to obtain indictments, to try and to mete out punishment to those convicted. And I want this office right here behind me to do their job, to quit kicking the can down the road, to quit passing the buck, to do the job that they're tasked with doing, to produce the evidence requested, to give answer to the questions stated in the letter, although I'm pretty sure that I'm going to be sending it to D.C. without any answers from the U.S. Attorney, and that's just fine. But I think it's very ironic, I find it actually quite humorous, that 30 minutes until 5 o'clock, there isn't a soul at the U.S. Attorney's office in the parking lot. Not only did they not fulfill their duties that they're tasked with, but not a soul up here working at 4:30. And these people are paid for by, guess who? You. Hold your people accountable. You only have one chance to do this. It's nearing bad times in America. Soros is trying to usher this in. Gates is trying to usher this in. Socialists are trying to usher this in. Take a stand for America before it's too late, folks. Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. Thanks for tuning in. Share this live stream.
U.S. Attorney's Office General Mailbox is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Guess I'll leave this message on the general mailbox. Keep getting sent to Bob Norman's voicemail. Bob just doesn't like to return voicemails. This is Matt Reardon. I'm outside of the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Oxford. I would like to speak with Bob Norman. I would like to do it the easy way, the non-invasive, non-intrusive way. But outside of that, and deposing, I don't know. There's been some new evidence that surfaced. I need to speak with Bob about this. I need to ask him direct questions. Not trying to cause any problems. Trying to do my due diligence here. I noticed on y'all's website, y'all have a victim witness forum. And different rights for victims and witnesses. Right now, I feel like my rights are being heavily violated in regards to that. Nobody at this office has yet to even speak to me in regards to the evidence. I need somebody to speak to me. Nobody wants to do it willingly. I'll deploy all the reporting gear, and we can just have a news conference out here. But I would like to have a cool, calm, and collected discussion. A news conference out here. But I would like to have a cool, calm, and collected discussion. I'm live on scene at the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District of Mississippi. I need to speak with Bob Norman. Blowhard Bob, Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman. Well, I'm still trying to get to the bottom of everything. It's been fraudulent concealment. You know, you guys are holding on to something they're not giving up. This is how you petition the government for a redress of grievances. So I'm out here because I've been getting the runaround. A lot of bullshit fed to me. Bob has been ducking the buck. His responsibilities as a assistant U.S. attorney. Bob played a pretty big part in what happened in 2017. How big of a part he played, I guess we're going to find out. Okay? But recently, there's been a shocker of evidence. I need Bob to talk to me. Bob doesn't like to talk to me. Me and Bob don't really get along too well. But I want to have a cool, calm, and collected conversation with Bob. Let me turn this camera around. Okay? I've got my cameraman right there. That thing follows me around. So I just called up there about 15 minutes ago. I was once again sent to his voicemail. Of course, he didn't answer. And so I called back and I called back. No answer, no answer, no answer. And they sent me the general voicemail. Left a voicemail in the general voicemail saying that we can do this the easy way or we can do it the hard way. It doesn't matter. Okay? We can do it with the newsreel set put up in the car, recorders off, just a private conversation, or we can do it the more difficult way, which involves all my reporting gear coming out, recorders, cameras, the whole 9 yards. Bob needs to talk to me. I doubt seriously Bob's going to catch me on Facebook. And actually, I'm quite surprised. I'm quite surprised that I'm even able to get on Facebook. It's funny that Facebook and Twitter and all that, I've gotten some of the most unfair treatment on social media. For whatever reason, there was a social media platform that, and I don't know if it was YouTube, I don't know if it was Facebook or Twitter, but nonetheless, one of them falsely labeled me as QAnon. Facebook went on the offensive and Twitter went on the offensive to remove QAnon accounts. I've never been a part of QAnon. Never. If the things that have happened to me just automatically group me into that category, and they must be spot on about some things. I'm gonna sit on these steps right here. And we're just gonna chill for a second. So, I guess I've tried to reach out to Bob several times to find the answer to this. On the U.S. Attorney website for the Northern District of Mississippi with the Department of Justice, it's got a grievance form. They've got a program for victims and witnesses to not only protect them, but to ensure that they get adequate legal defense, or not defense, legal counsel, that their grievance gets heard and doesn't get gaffed off. And this entire time, the Department of Justice has put their middle finger up in the air to me. Bob Norman might as well have put his middle finger up in the air to me. Bob Norman, actually back in 2017, May of 2017, I went to Bob with a specific grievance. I put my trust in him because it was conveyed to me that there was illicit activity going on involving a trust fund getting skimmed. Not to mention, I had a death threat that was issued to me. And even worse, Robin Tannehill, the then socialist mayor of Oxford, had taken out an emergency restraining order on me, which prevented me from speaking at City Hall on June 6th. I was listed on the agenda to petition the government for redress of grievances right after Joe East, who was then the police chief of Oxford, who now is the Lafayette County Sheriff. By the way, this whole ordeal, everything over the last 4 years, is exactly the reason why there needs to be term limits that need to be established and need to be enforced on all public positions of trust. This is a perfect example why. You can't tell me that a sheriff sitting in office for 46 years doesn't have enough power and sway to make anything happen. So the reason why I'm here is Liz Crowder had long, and I had forgotten all about it, but Liz Crowder had long claimed that a Cora Norman was her adopted grandmother. Well, one of Cora and Bill's children just so happened to apparently be Bob Norman, which would mean that Corey Crowder, Liz's dad, would have essentially grown up and technically brother of Bob Norman. And Bob had me sit down with the FBI due to the threats that were on me. He had me sit down with the FBI on May 24th, 2017. They realized I was no threat and that I actually had legit threats on me. I conveyed that I had purchased a weapon on May 20th to protect myself and my family. These threats actually panned out. And next day, ambushed on the square, locked away, key thrown out for 6 weeks' time. About a week and a half before the mayor was elected, until a week to the day, 7 days after she was sworn into office. That time, they pushed a part of the plea that they had rammed down my throat, had coerced me on, involved signing a banishment from the city and county for 5 years, agreeing to a covenant to not sue the city of Oxford, Lafayette County, the sheriff's department, and essentially it fucked my life all up to pieces. Not just mine, but my kids, and has royally screwed my life up since. And all I've asked is somebody in a position of authority to take their damn job seriously. In particular, Bob Norman. How do you come in and assist with something in the beginning and know the facts and then let the guy get railroaded, let the guy get screwed over, and then want to turn bitch? Excuse my language, I'm a little bit pissed off today. I want some answers from some people that can do something and be part of the solution and not part of the furthered problem. The sheriff's department, Lafayette County, is part of the continued problem. I'm not a threat. Even to this day, when I lost all my opportunity, I have fought like hell for my rights and for other people's. And these filthy alphabet agencies want to characterize me as I'm doing something wrong. That's what I get the impression of, at least. Bob Norman had me spinning my gears today. If they would just give me an email address for Bob, I could send him a nice email. They won't even give me an email address for him. How is that? A government email address. Not even his personal email address. Okay? I asked for his government email address and they won't even give me that. He didn't pay for it. I don't wish to provide that.
Any phone number for you?
No, sir. I didn't realize it was illegal to come up to government property and to report. I did nothing wrong coming up here to report. I was framed for a crime I couldn't possibly have committed back in May of 2017. The FBI destroyed a record, 302 report. Bob Norman was part of it. This is ridiculous. Man, I came up here to report. I'm on government property. I mean, Bob Norman's been ducking me. They've been sending me straight to his voicemail. I came up here with a legitimate concern to petition the government for a redress of grievances. I'm on federal property. I was right there, wasn't causing a scene. I was sitting on those steps and I was telling my story. And this is beyond me that this could be considered illegal. I mean, is this a crime? Is this considered a crime? This is crazy. I'd like to get my attorney on the phone if I can't leave. Am I being detained? Am I being detained? Okay, so I'm free to go? If I'm not being detained, then I must be free to go.
I mean, you're free to go, but just hold on for a second.
Okay. Cops came up here. I wasn't causing any problems.
You get to go, okay? Like I said, they just don't want you on the property.
How do they not want me on the property when I've got a legitimate grievance? Nobody even talked to me.
Well, they called and talked to us, and they asked us to remove you off the property, so that's why we're here, okay?
Can I ask who called?
I don't know. Like I said, we got the call, they asked for you to leave, so like I said.
Will that be in a report?
Yeah, it will be reported on.
So I can get the report and
Come out to PD anytime.
all right. Yeah, I mean, it'd be one thing if I was out here causing problems, but I had a legitimate grievance. I was sitting on the steps. I wasn't cussing. I wasn't being loud. I was framed for a crime I couldn't have committed back in 2017. Blowhard Bob in there, U.S. attorney, set me up. He had me sit down with the FBI. The FBI destroyed a report that proved my innocence, and he wanted to turn cold, straight pitch on me. He won't talk to me now, and it's like, what do you do? I mean, it's straight turn tyrannical here in Oxford. Marine Corps veteran, patriot, never did a thing to deserve any of that. And they want to demonize me for coming up here and trying to speak to the assistant U.S. attorney that I put my faith in back in 2017. This is ridiculous. I got you. I was just leaving anyways whenever you pulled up. I was honestly, I was quite shocked that this was actually that y'all were. Okay. All right, guys. Take care.
Hey, sir. Can I back up?
I'm getting all of this on video. This shit's fucking nuts. I mean, fucking nuts. There he is. There's the guy that called in the report.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, ma'am. I was calling to see if the U.S. Attorney's Office had any comment for the First Amendment attack on a citizen yesterday outside of your office.
Okay, can you hold them up, please?
Sure.
Susan Bradley is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Mr. Bradley, my name is Matt Reardon. I was calling to see if the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Northern District had any comment on the First Amendment assault. Assault on the First Amendment of a citizen simply coming up there to address a grievance yesterday afternoon. An employee of the U.S. Attorney's Office actually had the gall to call local PD and ask that he be escorted off the property. Wanted to see if you had any comment on that, if the Department of Justice is aware of the brutal attack on the First Amendment that happened yesterday. Please give me a call back at your earliest convenience. My number is 662-701-1510. 662-701-1510. Thank you.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, I got a missed call. I was actually leaving a voicemail for Mr. Bradley when I think he called through.
Okay, hold on a moment, please.
Susan Bradley is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Mr. Bradley, Matt Reardon, please give me a call back. I was leaving you a voicemail when you called. 662-701-1510. 662-701-1510.
U.S. Attorney's Office.
I'd called yesterday for comment on the local police, Oxford Police, 2 days ago. I got a call back while I was leaving a voicemail message, and then I called right back and left another voicemail. Nothing anything back. I'm trying to identify a certain individual up there at your office that made the call. I've got it freeze framed. Who can I speak with to find the answers to my questions?
Okay, hold on, please.
Yes.
Sir, the acting U.S. Attorney would not allow us to give you that information or give anyone that information out to.
Okay. Is there anybody that can at least address the serious issues? There's been ethical concerns, conflict of interest raised on Bob Norman. That was the reason why I was up there in the first place. Is a familial tie that was brought to my attention, and simply for being up there on outside. It was on government property, federal property. Y'all are supposed to be steadfast to the federal Constitution. I have a production and media company. There are numerous violations of the First Amendment that occurred, and calling local police to have me removed from the property when I was never causing a disturbance. So nobody wishes to address that. I've got the guy's picture. The officer just never did get anybody's name, right, for whatever reason.
Okay. Hold on for just a moment, please.
Clay Joyner is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Mr. Joyner, my name is Matt Reardon. I've got some serious issues with your office right now. There are ethical issues that are raised, conflict of interest in regards to Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman, familial ties back to my ex, her adoptive grandparents, being Bob Norman's parents. I was simply trying to either have him negate that or take ownership of that when local PD was called to have me escorted off of the property. Being that I have a media and production company, and being that I'm a private citizen that came to petition the government for redress, there are numerous violations of the First Amendment that occurred 2 days ago. I'm prepared to file a complaint in district court. I've got it freeze-framed with the individual that appears to have been the one to call. Completely uncalled for. In fact, it was tyrannical. I'm looking for answers. I believe your office owes me some answers on that. Please give me a call back at your earliest convenience. 662-701-1510. 662-701-1510. This is absolutely unbelievably bizarre.
Hello, you have reached the Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General Investigations Division. To dial by last name, please press 1. To report what you believe to be wrongdoing by employees of the Department of Justice or within the Department of Justice or its programs, you may file your complaint by completing the online form at the Department of Justice Office of the Inspector General website at oig.justice.gov/hotline. To speak to someone, please press 2.
Office of the Inspector General.
Yes, ma'am. I was calling. I've got a major issue going on in Oxford, Mississippi.
There.
Yes, sir.
Clay Joyner. Can I help you?
Clay Joyner. Matt Reardon.
Well, COVID time, so you know. Well, I think
Gotcha.
we're outside
Gotcha.
the building now.
Now you're the acting U.S. attorney, or okay, all right. So a couple of grievances that I have. First of all, Bob, I wanted to find out. I wanted to see if you actually took, if you said this was true or if you refuted it. Liz Crowder, she had long claimed back to when we first got together that her adoptive grandparents, her dad's adoptive parents, were a Bill and Cora Norman. Is Bill and Cora Norman your parents?
They were parents, but they never adopted her.
But there was clearly a tie.
Hey, Sheriff. How you doing? Hey, Sheriff.
But there was clearly a tie.
Boy traffic is next door.
But isn't it a coincidence that she falsely accuses me of rape in Olive Branch? The judge lets her off.
No clue about that.
I end up getting charged with contempt for simply doing exactly what I was told to do. Do what?
Couple seems to follow you everywhere.
But it's been proven over and over. The Earlene Gardner Victim Assistance Project. What do you guys know about that?
What's the relevance to that?
Actually found out they keep coming in representing Liz as her defense attorney. They represented her when Olive Branch charged her with filing a false report of rape. I was the victim. I was completely victimized in all of this. They represented her. Their funding does not come from the state, does not come local. It comes from the Department of Justice. But you're wanting to cut me off.
No, here's what I want to cut off. You're sitting here doing, like, what are we on?
Yeah,
right now?
okay. No, I'm just doing recording a video.
Whatever performance art.
Yeah.
Please, if not, I'm going to jail.
What's your badge number, by the way?
Good afternoon, U.S. Attorney's Office.
Yes, it's Blowhard Bob in. Bob Norman.
Okay, may I ask who's calling, please?
It's Matt Reardon, the Outlaw.
Okay, hold on, please.
You can't tell me the deck is stacked. You can't whisper.
Bob Norman.
Bob Norman.
Is not available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone. Press the pound key to end recording.
Bob Norman. Matt Reardon. Hey, I wanted to ask you if you knew who the two FBI agents that I sat down with back in 2017 were. I know that you had called ahead, and I can't recall their name.
Per the right granted to me in the Constitution, I have every right to seek justice.
And it's very important at this stage of the game
and I would like to find out who they are.
Every right. Granted to me under the United States Constitution.
Apparently, the 302 has just grown 2 legs, disappeared. Hey, check out outlaw.news. Outlaw.news.
Justice. Under the United States Constitution, you're a crooked son of a bitch.
And check out ridingwiththeoutlaw.com. I think you'd find that pretty interesting. Check out the evidence. Don't, at this point, plausible deniability is off the table. What I am basically demanding at this point, for me to have been guilty of the state's charge would have made it that I was guilty of lying to the FBI. So I'm either demanding to get indicted for lying to the FBI or for Robin Tannehill to be indicted as part of the election fraud that happened back in 2017. Now, I doubt that's going to happen, okay? But there's no way that I could have been guilty of the state's crime and not have been guilty of lying to the FBI. So, one way or the other, the evidence deserves its day in court. It deserves a trial. And that's what I'm asking for. 662-812-1613. 662-812-1613. Thanks, Bob.
Remember this phrase. When freedom is outlawed, only the outlaws will be free. I don't mind being an outlaw at all. I don't mind wearing it on my shirt. Ridiculously hot outside. It was a coincidence. It was a little bit more probably than a coincidence that my feed was cut out here. Of all places, welcome, welcome, welcome. For those that are on here, I'm Matt Reardon, the Oxford Outlaw. If you do not know me, I've been covering my own political framing back in 2017. And on Friday, I hand-delivered my letter here to the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Northern District of Mississippi, right to the hands of Assistant U.S. Attorney Bob Norman. I did so on those very steps right there. Bob gaffed it off. I asked him if he remembered me. I had put my trust in this Assistant U.S. Attorney back in May of 2017 when I had a death threat issued to me, when my right to free speech and in petitioning the government for a redress of grievances was ultimately shot and destroyed by the Tannehills, the incoming mayor of Oxford, Democrat, socialist mayor. I was on the agenda to speak out June 6th, the day of the election, and that was effectively canceled when an emergency injunction was taken out on me, barring me, keeping me 500 yards from the soon-to-be incoming mayor. The soon-to-be incoming mayor. My wife just brought me a snow cone. And on a hot day like today, a snow cone